Hi, I'm Linda MacAulay. Let's take a look at my watercolour sketchbook painted entirely on location. So this is a tour of my latest sketchbook. So whenever I start one of these, I leave this title page blank. So when I brought the book home, everything was completed and this was done in the studio at the end of the journey. And the reason I do this is so I remove all the anxiety about starting a new journal and stuffing it up. I did this sketch on the plane, and while we were waiting, the great thing about the plane is no one can move. Dubai was super hot, so a lot of this was done inside restaurants. And I actually lost my pen in Dubai, so it really sort of set me back from my style. So this was painted in Burj Khalifa, or I went out really early in the morning to sketch. More of Dubai, airport again, and then finally we arrived in London and we stayed at St. Catherine's Docks, which was absolutely beautiful. So this layout was done, the little sketches were done in minutes on the bus from the window. This one was actually done at the docks, and then I've added the elements later. So I'm really interested in logos. So the tube station, the bus tour, the Visit England logo, and these elements with the red bring this page together. So here again, I've used the tube stations, these all painted on location. Rainy days are great for going to the museum, but all of this was painted standing up at the museum with a crowd. Brixton, great suburb, really interesting place. And this is a great example of a layout that doesn't work. So whenever I start something, I do one sketch at a time. I don't know that the colors are going to go together. I feel like this is a little bit too crowded. I probably would have done this differently if I was less jet lagged and had more time to think about it. Again, with this sketch of Tower Bridge, I really should have moved it up the page, and I did this over 2 mornings. Visiting Camden Markets was one of my favourite places. I love this Cyberdog store and the colour and movement there. Incredibly loud. So then we went for a couple of weekend trips. So we went down to Canterbury. So I did all the little sketches and this beefeater here. And then later on I've added the map and the writing and this logo just to sort of bring it all together, to bring the greens and this red together and tell a little bit of a story about where we were. Again, this is a good example of, I just literally plonk these sketches on. I don't know what I'm going to see and what I'm going to draw until I get there. And sometimes you don't know how long you're going to have at a place because I'm traveling with somebody. So I did this one here while my husband was in the museum. White Cliffs of Dover. I did this one while my husband climbed down the cliff. Really quick little sketches done on location. So this was one of my favourite layouts of the Paddington. I started with these really bright colours here, and this done during lunch. I added this from the station because we were stranded there. And then I drew this from life, adding the bus. And see how these lines here that radiate out and these 2 reds really work to unite all the colours in the page. I was pretty happy with that layout. Then I headed off to Chepstow in Wales, and I'm just bringing this close so you can see on my palette. I actually took a lot of granulating pigments, Daniel Smith granulating pigments, and the aim there was to try and emulate the sort of aged effects. This again is all painted on location, but I've added this leaf from life and these logos at a later date. Monmouth, painted on location. And here's another example where I've really liked the signs, and I love these quirky statues in some of these country towns. Just check out the granulation on this. I started to paint and it started to pour. I had to run in this little one. Again, I've added these logos and this writing later to try and bring these different elements together. So this is one of my favourite pages of Battersea Power Station, and you can see I've got the logo for the power station, the Uber boat, the little dials from the power station, and those blue logos really work together to bring these two pictures together. And I like that they've got some space. One of the things that happens as I go on is I leave more space. This is a great example where I didn't leave enough space. It was a really wet, miserable day. I sprained my ankle. I probably should have made this smaller, moved this over here, but I'm drawing quickly from life, and sometimes I don't really think things through as well as I should. Painted, this took about 20 minutes. All of these are painted with an audience of onlookers. I was fortunate to meet up with the London Urban Sketchers, and we went to the Welcome collection for the day. So this was done in the museum, perfect for a rainy day. This one's one of my favourites, so all done with that tiny little demi palette, which I love so much from the Arts Toolkit. Borough Market, didn't have enough time to finish this because I only had a few minutes, but when I'm drawing people, I sketched one person, I waited a couple of times till somebody else was waiting. So this is not the actual queue, but a number of people. And I've done a bit of a compilation of, you know, if this person's moved, I put on the next person's legs onto that person. And this one was painted on the morning. So these paintings, this journal is done in one of these handbook watercolour journals, which has this amazing 300 GSM paper. So the other things I took besides my two palettes, which are really lightweight, and in 5 weeks I didn't have to refill these, surprisingly. This great Humule, very lightweight collapsible water cup. Always have a water bottle with me, a packet of tissues, a couple of aqua brushes. I'm a big fan of flat and a pointed one, little spray bottle in case I need it. I've got this great Neef mop brush, which I actually use extensively, and I like the fact that it's a travel brush and I can pack it up. I took one mechanical pencil, a ruler, and a retractable eraser, which surprisingly I used a lot this time because buildings take a lot of work. A white pen, and my favourite, which is Sailor de Man Fude. It's a 40 degree if I hold it up. No, I haven't got that in focus, but anyway, it's a bent nib. You can do broad strokes, fine strokes, all in one. If you got this far, I really wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it interesting. I have some other sketchbook tours on YouTube, and you can really see by watching those that I love trying out different art materials and different approaches. If you want to see more of my work, you can visit me on social media. I'm Linda MacAulay. Thanks for watching.